Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yeah.
with respect to automobile companies, as you told, there are some companies which are early implementers of IoT. Can you name which of the companies which have completely implemented IoT and how successfully they are running? Successfully in the sense there should be no breakdown, since all the automobile companies are almost continuous running plants like 24/7. It's
Mhm.
an assembly line.
Mhm.
So can you name the company which has completely continuously running with successfully IoT enabled? Because IoT is also already it is connected with interlock also. Or if there is no IoT, if there is no internet connectivity, any breakdown happens, whole assembly line will be under down, right?
Mhm.
So can you
So,
name the companies?
yeah, yeah. See, I will rather than naming the company, it will be better. It is naming the industry vertical itself. For example, when you talk about industry vertical of automotive, which you have mentioned, I think automotive has always been the forerunner of adopting technology in the manufacturing process. What the automotive does, the other industry follows after it. So that's why there is a huge amount of, because that's why in say for food processing or process technology, wherever is involved there, or chemical processing, certain cases that usage of technology or per se IoT is much lesser. But talking about is like where the IoT comes into full-fledged and successful. If that happens, then the what is the measure of that is like dark factories. Have you heard of the word dark factories? So though they are experimental, like in US, Pepsi has done that. In Germany, they have. I think there is one of them where dark factory means no one visits the factory. Lights are all switched off. Your production happens. It's only the truck comes in from one side to bring in the raw materials, and the finished goods are picked up on truck from the other and moved out. So that is how. That means you need not just that is how the it you can see it, but that is not just IoT. As I said, IoT can really get you up to that. It's the IoT plus certain other modern technologies which are coming in the power play in terms of digital twin, because once you do that, that means you need a digital twin representation. Number one. Number two is like whenever we're talking about connectivity and this kind of a thing. Yes, so that is where achieving that is like there are certain challenges even in the 4G where the connectivity kind of and stability kind of and speed that we are expecting 4G is unable to deliver, and that's why those problems are being addressed in 5G. So whenever it is a 5G coming in, you will always see there kind of a redundancy put in the system, which will see that you can never get disconnected. Okay, you can never be see like where the speed will go down after one place to another, it will go down at a certain level. So those things are there already and in certain phases, and it will continuously evolve. But if you talk about successful implementation bits and pieces, lot of cases there are success has been there. Success should not be measured in terms of taking that system and make it happen. Success is measured only it delivers results, then only it becomes success. There are a lot of projects where a lot of money been put in by large corporation itself to make this kind of thing, and they have not been able to do it. But whereas there are certain things where very small things has been done and have given much higher return. So in this case, that's why if you ask me, I have such certain case studies of certain businesses how they have done a turnaround using IoT, very simple point of time by using that. But for example, I've been talking about one of our client. They are into this boiler and cooler HVAC equipment installation and installation commissioning and then maintenance. So in this case, what was happening is like what they were doing earlier is like they were just taking buying boiler from certain companies like Thermax or certain others like below Thermax also there are certain brands. From there they used to buy, they have to assemble and put it there. So that is how they are managing the business, and their major business revenue was coming from maintenance. That means the AMC that they are getting, because on the commissioning and all those, it as you know, like when you are sourcing for multiple country and making it happen, it's a huge supply chain and a logistic challenge to make it happen. And though you plan for something, if times get extended and all those, so margins becomes quite less. So in that kind of a business, so only way of getting their major revenues are from AMCs. So now for the boiler AMC company, when they are doing it, so today to maintain the AMC, what they have to do, they have to ensure that the SLAs what they have said are maintained. That means every 1 month or something, they have to send one guy who has to go to the site, inspect, check all the parameters, and say that it is all fine, or there is a problem that needs to be replaced. So that was again a challenge, because to make it happen, say he has customers not only in Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, Burma. So they have spread of different client, and as you know, these are all factories. Most of the factories are very remote. Certain cases are remotely located, and to manage that kind of, it's an operational challenge. So, and that's why, and same business, he has also facing competition, because he has a similar companies are also there who are doing the same, coming to the same customer and offering the same thing. Only thing is like they are undercutting and giving a better pricing, and that's why, or have a better network, and that's why businesses are coming to them. So he was facing a competition and challenge both ways. So what he has done is like, now they has when you are working with Siemens as a partner, and then they have, and we it came to us. What we have done for them is like, we have provided them one logger device which is connected to their equipment which they have put on site, which is the boiler. And we have collected all the certain data, like not all, but certain important parameter which is needed, like temperature, pressure, and flow rate, and all those which are read from the PLC, collected from the device, and sent it to a central server. And with that, so it's a very easy thing to do, because what we have done is like, it's just a box, you go and just connect it to your PLC system, and the PLC is what they're providing, it has capability to read from that, pass the data to the log device over an Ethernet, this one, our Siemens Ethernet protocol. So it's a standard protocol. So and once it is there, and we have built a server system where they has a central command. So all the systems that they are running at remote site, he's getting a live feed on that. And also there are certain threshold rules being put in. Okay, value going high, up and down, it automatically sends some alerts. We have put in some kind of an predictive measures, where they are saying is like, if certain cases we are giving early alerts, that okay, there is a chances that it might fail, because we are seeing the pressure is continuously dipping from last 2 days, and it has gone down by 75% in last 2 days, and there's a chance it can fail in very short time. So you need to attend. So immediately you can call to the customer, please check what is happening, and all those. So that means the customer is also getting an surprise, that okay, if they are not at the site, but still they are getting an update, and they are going and checking, okay, and then they arrest that kind of a problem, like okay, that means there is a leakage happening, though immediately go and stop the leakage, so the production doesn't get affected in that. If it has failed totally, that means it affects like almost 3 to 4 days, they have to stop the and even for boilers it is more, because once it cools down the boiler, if you have to stop the boiler, means production stop for almost minimum 15 days. So that has been avoided. So if you see that way, that is where they are getting a benefit, totally big benefit out of this. And this is a successful implementation, right? Today, rather than it is not about that the job is lost. It is not like that he had 40 people to manage this operations. He has limited staff. And today with the same level of staff, he has brought in the efficiency. He is showing that his product has a higher value, because now to the his competitors who are there in the market, who is not offering an IoT product versus an IoT product, they are giving much better offering at the almost at the same cost. Okay, because the cost of the logger device and managing that is quite low, and not just something which will make or break his deal. So he's making a higher value offer. He's a differentiated offer, so the customer sees that vendor as a much higher value delivering vendor. And on the other end, he is able to manage the operations much more effectively, just by putting one monitoring device and having a system which can help him do that. So if you see, this is a successful, and now this business has got a turnaround, because his operation cost has gone down. He is showing higher value. That means he is getting more business from that. Second thing is like, his operational costs are down, so that he can manage things much more effectively. So your margins are better. And that means if this is something which is a success, it's a turnaround story. The business which was trying to which was struggling, just by a simple intervention of a technology, or mostly specifically IoT and cloud technology, his business has taken a U-turn altogether. So this is kind of as a success which I can share. And it is not about that this is a very large corporation they are doing and they are doing it. They are a very small and medium term and doing 20 to 30 crore business in a year. Okay. So and that's why I'm talking about there are this is as though it is talking about some asset maintenance monitoring. See, this is for his business. It is becoming a turnaround time. The same thing can happen if you are in the manufacturing floor. You can think no, it's a totally different thing altogether. For us, is like our production has to be, our efficiency has to increase, and the production has to be much should not stop at the runtime, and the uptime should be at certain level. So those are the things. It is possible. It is possible to do. We have done it for. We have certain solutions which we have provided, because what we see is like things that you see in front of your eyes. You can take actions on them, which you don't see. Actually, actually that is where it creates the more problem. Right? Make sense?
Sir, sir, is it audible, sir?
Yes. Yes.
My
Yes. You are on mute, Dhanraj sir.
is audible, sir?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. See, my question is how IoT will be helpful for in R&D organizations. Like production is discrete, not a
Hmm.
continuous mode. So in
Yes.
this case, how IoT will be helpful?
Yes, so we have also certain cases where we are working with certain R&D labs. So when you
Okay.
are talking about your R&D, I'm not sure it's because R&D means you are working on certain next level products, right? For the
Correct, sir.
business, when you are working, you are developing certain products.
Correct.
Now, lot of the cases, your product, how it is behaving in the hands of your customer, you will not
Okay.
be able to know, right?
Correct.
So IoT is the one of the cases, and we have done that case is where it actually, when it the product goes out of your hand in R&D, but it has not gone into production. You want to get the feedback. Now what you
Yeah.
have to do, you have to go and collect the send someone, talk to the users, collect their feedback, and then you do the loop. It's a much
Correct.
longer loop. Today,
Correct.
if you think of a device, even whatever device you are sending, attaching an IoT device with that, which has a SIM card enabled, and you have a control on that, right? And an R&D device, you have that control, right? You can
Correct.
tell that, yeah. So that's why you put a SIM card on that,
Because
and that, yes.
customer need only we have to fulfill.
No, when you are talking about customer need means I'm talking when an R&D, you are talking about the R&D context. Now your
Correct.
product, you have come up in a level where you think that it can go into the hands of the user, or I want the feedback, or I want to monitor how it is behaving or how it is working in the hands of our users. Okay.
Okay. Okay, sir.
In that context, that is how where our R&D works, right?
Correct.
Now, that is where I'm talking about. Assume I don't know what device or a product you are having, but if
Okay.
it is a some kind of an electromechanical device, if it is
Okay.
there, I assume,
Okay.
so you
Okay.
can easily fit one kind of an this kind of a sensors which can monitor, read those values on a regular interval, and keep
Okay.
sending you to your which you can read. Now, when it
Okay.
is going and you are reading the value, you are actually getting the real insight how your product is behaving. Now, if you
Okay.
see pitfall there, some you see something which is not working well, that is where you know your product has failed, and you come back quickly. You can check on that, and you can monitor. I mean, you can fix that on your, and to come with the next iteration version of your product. So the loop becomes faster. And you ask me with IoT how R&D it can help. Number one, your feedback loop for your product and
Okay.
monitoring the user behavior, that can be much faster. And now, if you think of that, the cost, it is not very high, because this kind of sensors you can design and build some kind of a generic devices. So that means any product it comes, you know that you can program and plug it in, and it can
Okay.
send the data. So that means it's not a one device gone. It's means it is lost. So it is
Okay.
something you can keep like a pool of this kind of sensors, and
Okay.
every product that you are going out, you can do that. So that is number one kind of a case which I can immediately think of in the R&D
Okay.
lab. And that has happened. We have done it in some of our customers. They are into R&D labs, and then they wanted to actually test their product behavior. It was for a sewage STP. It was a STP device, sewage treatment
Oh,
plant.
oh, okay,
They wanted to monitor how it is behaving and all those, whether the designs are proper or functioning or not. So what has they have done is like they have attached certain additional sensors which are not there in a standard device to check and measure the values in real time, and then decide how the it is behaving in the real life condition, and then based on that they have done the iteration. So it can speed up your process. That's what I
oh,
immediately can think of. But there can
okay,
be surely, if you can let us know certain problems that you are facing,
okay,
we can surely come back with certain idea
okay.
to uh, uh, implement and take the benefit.
Is it, my question is the discrete type production can be used at discrete type, means the
Yes,
production
yes,
will be
yes,
not
yes, yes.
continuous. It is
Yeah,
not a
yeah,
continuous for,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That is always possible, because this
Uh,
example which I've given earlier for the boiler company
mhm.
commissioning, that is a continuous. But even
Okay,
for
okay,
discrete also, it doesn't matter. When I'm talking about IoT, it's a discrete function which is happening. Like it can be calculating cycle time, right?
okay, okay,
What is your cycle time? You want to measure the performance of it. You can want to
okay,
check the availability, how long it was running, not running. Okay,
okay, okay,
that is
okay,
also you can measure. Like you can put some measure where the device is functioning or not functioning, or is
okay,
shut.
oh,
So
okay,
that
sir.
can
Okay,
also be done. It does not matter. It's only the
okay,
data in process way. Your data flow is continuous. In discrete, you get in certain spots the data will be coming in as on when it is used. So
okay,
not a
okay,
problem,
right.
because every data that is coming in and when you are analyzing are all at timestamp. So when you put in a time scale, we can measure. We know what is there.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Good. So coming to the third myth, I think let me highlight. A lot of people say that okay, when we are using PLC or an MES system or a SCADA, there are certain set standard and we are following it. And I'm talking just in terms of manufacturing context. But when it comes to IoT, I don't know what is the state there. I think there is no set standard, or I what else? Then there are so many standards, we get confused and all those. I don't know how to it. And now another, and also there's a point like when you're talking about and to interfacing with our legacy system with IoT, there might be challenges. So those are what you are talking. You bring some new standards that is a different. So let me highlight, come to the fact point now. So IoT ideally creates a common unified access platform for disparate systems. And that's why even if your systems are legacy systems, even if your systems are old, basic thing is simple. Either when you are talking about, we are talking about connecting to certain device. What are this device doing? Either they are sensing, that means they are from the environment, either they are measuring some values, or second thing, they are controlling means when you are they are either switching on off valve, they are opening on or off. That is what they are doing. It's a switch they are putting on or off. And actually those are like that is what the sensors are doing. So if these are the two things, the basic thing is there. But once the sensing, like whether it is on and off, how the data is relayed, how the data is sensed, or whether it's an analog signal or a digital signal, that is where the differences starts coming in. So that's why when we are talking about IoT actually brings in a common platform, where this systems can be a disparate system can also be brought in on a single frame, and that is a big advantage. And in certain cases I have some slides where you can show talk about certain solutions which we have done for clients where they have this set of problem. There are two machines, they each are having separate protocols, separate way of understanding and communicating. But once we have brought in this kind of an IoT system, we are actually bringing that kind of an adapter or a middleware in between, which actually does this kind of an common unified access. And once you do that, trust me, when IoT, or I'm just, though the top line is IoT, but it's actually a combination of with IoT with other software systems put together. Once it is put in, actually opens the door for your business intelligence, which was earlier closed by automation. So automation, what was there and what is currently being used, actually happens behind closed doors. IoT comes as a door opener. So that means the data which was locked in your machines or not been utilized, IoT can actually open those data up and bring it to the place where it can be analyzed to find out where do the root cause analysis, do that prediction, whatever you want to do, which is important for the business intelligence, can be brought in. Okay. So now, if you are talking about IoT use highly scalable networking standards like Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, BLE, RFID, Zigbee, all these, mostly these are the protocols that being used. And if I talk each of this protocol, I don't have to introduce any of this protocol except Zigbee. Okay, Zigbee is a Honeywell protocol which has not been adopted much. In US, it's being used popular a lot of cases like for home automation or in hotel and all those they use it. But Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, I think I don't have to explain to anyone because it's a very common part of our life. Even a kid knows that what is a Wi-Fi and what is Bluetooth. So that's why even it's some known set standards are being used under the IoT for network communication, the protocols, networking standards, sorry. Whereas the protocol that we use are HTTP, JSON APIs, which we use, are certain protocols which we use. MQTT, which is the message queue telemetry, is rather new, and it has been brought in because HTTP protocols for IoT, we have seen it's a quite heavy one. It has certain problem, and and certain devices it becomes too heavy to support that HTTP protocols, and that's why the MQTT protocol has been brought in. It's only the common that this protocol MQTT is a new protocol which has been introduced just to make IoT happen per way. It's most other modern one way of message communication between your sensors to the devices when it is collected. So that means it is still there are a lot of standards, and most of the standards that are used under IoT are set standard, and day in day out we are using those standards. So and there is no challenge whatsoever under it. So that is what is my third point on the myth of the IoT that I want to break. Fourth, IoT is not secure. So that is as a very, I think I can keep it on the first list itself, because when we talk about IoT, means what? It is giving an external access to my sites, to my data, to my network, to the internet. So it's like an open field. Everyone can come in and go and do whatever they want to do. It's something people have a feeling like that. No, IoT provides unsecure external access to my site. The site is yours. How you provide security is up to you. It doesn't mean that when you put in security, your IoT will not work. Okay, and so that's why what is happening is like there are certain cases where certain devices are still not when they have manufactured, because whenever in terms of software and wherever is there, it can be very easily changed. But when it comes to devices side, devices once manufactured, we can't change much. But if the devices has some flaw or some vulnerability in terms of security and enforcing better, so that can be a blocking point. But gradually more and more devices in-device security measures, so all the IoT sensors and device when they're coming in, they're talking about the lot of discussion and coming in about the in-device security to be embedded. Uh, so and network securities are also being enhanced and better encryption. So in terms of network security, I think we have a lot more readiness is there on the general industry front, having your proper network scanning security softwares to be put in. But having all of this said, but still we can't say it's like the security or a safety is such a measure, like whatever measure you take, you can't ensure that that mishap may not happen. So that we only thing is like we always have to be alert. We have to have some practices that needs to be followed. There are certain habits and practices which has to be followed in a regular basis, and be it at the organization level, be it at an individual level, that has to be done, and it has to be continuously done. So to ensure that is what I can say. But yes, when someone say IoT is not secure, I can support that to some extent. Yes, there, as per my study and analysis, I have seen there are certain areas where there can be vulnerabilities, and it can open up certain channels to and make things that there can be threat which can come in. So that is what I can't totally say that yes, the most secure system IoT is the most secure system. So and that you can't say for any other system per se. Even if it is the servers of the biggest who and who, the Googles or the Microsoft and all those who are holding lot of more data, private data or confidential data, that also we can't say that they're the best secured one. It can attack can happen anywhere. It is only the way how do we shoo away the attack is what we have to measure. But more and more gradually we are seeing this security point is being raised more. That's why the IoT, the device manufacturer, in the networking protocols, everywhere the more and more security terms are coming in, uh, which we are talking about. Uh, and the last one is like IoT is controlled from smartphone. This is I very sometimes hear like people say is like, okay, if it is I can do something from the smartphone means that is IoT. Okay, so if just switching on and off or just checking some values is IoT which is there. So I want to hint on that. No, that is not IoT. Maybe we have discussed a lot of this topic when what is a thing, what is internet, how they connect. So after this also session, no one should again have talk about that or have some kind of an notion which says that which talks about such trivial items that what is IoT and then they don't have a clue. Ideally, this should be your key takeaway from the session. It's like you should have an utmost clarity in terms of what is IoT, how it is used, how it works, what are the things which is not in IoT, and that is about. The fact is like though IoT are applications are mobile centric because it is possible to do it, but that is not the only way of doing it. My IoT system actually works with multiple sensors, actuators, processors that collect and the data from the site, processes over the network, stores it in some cloud server where the analysis happens over a network system in real time, and the business intelligence that is derived sometimes happens in the real time itself. And that is where when the intelligence is coming in, do we wait for someone to give that report to say for the business CEO, he wants that intelligence to be there. Today he has to go to his team and ask, please provide me a report, and he said, okay, I will prepare it, give you next week, sir. No, that is now how it doesn't work. Once this happening, if there is a major thing happening, it might happen that the CEO gets alerted by the system automatically immediately over his smartphone itself. Okay, and that's why IoT is since constantly growing and expanding. We will see much more things happening in, but adopt it more. Adoption rate is much lesser than what we are seeing, and there should not be any point because if you see in your daily life, we are adding using more IoT versus the IoT that is used in our business work environment. Mostly our factories are in the manufacturing process. So that is what we have to look into it. Okay, so coming to that is like major barriers what we have seen. In IoT adoption, I'm not talking about IoT, but when a business says that okay, I want to do IoT, but I have certain points. So the major barriers which I have mostly seen is like clarity. The clarity in understanding. They some people think that whatever is automation and IoT are same thing. So and automation is the goal, so it's not like that. With automation, you do certain things, and IoT on top of automation, when it works, delivers you certain higher values, right? And in IoT, in an organization cannot be which I've seen is like, okay, I have a dedicated team for IoT, which is working, which I've seen as per my experience, that will not work. It is not one team is doing everything, and it is not a support function. IT used to work like that. IT can sit separately in their own room and just manage whenever there's issues, they will come and address that. Otherwise, it's fine. IT used to work, but IoT will not work like that. IoT, when you say it's a proper way is working, means it's a collaboration. Your maintenance team, the production team, the quality team, even your sales team, everyone can be in a part of that to make certain things happen, to make an IoT adoption which is beneficial to the business. Another adoption which I seen, need to train employees, which a lot of people say, okay, if I'm trying to do this, that means a lot of people in my team doesn't know this, and this technology or the models that we are talking about needs to be they need some training. Yes, this is one of the barrier. Training, upskilling is needed. This that is a big challenge. That where the every business should see like either build a team around that. If they have to do some kind of an industry 4.0 implementation, first they have to identifying an in-house team or the champions who will take it up. And for those champions, whatever kind of a skill gaps are needed needs to be that kind of and these trainings are not very high level of training is required, like 3 months 6 months trainings are not needed. Short trainings or short sessions which is like one day maximum 2 day sessions can give them good enough knowledge, because today knowledge is everywhere. You can get it very easily. But utilization, using that knowledge and applying it, that is where we see the lot of challenges and gap areas. So here we help a lot in terms of this kind of a capacity building, where with the shortest intervention of knowledge and giving some kind of an insight, a lot of the in-house team can get a better grip and hold of that, and certain things they can do on their own with certain basic support that we provide. And it's not about finding going and doing some finding the vendor to do it. There are a lot of things you can do on your own itself with a right kind of support. Okay. And yeah, so that is about organization that undergo fundamental. There is certain business model and strategies which are changing, where that needs to be which is also a barrier which we see. Data privacy and protection is one of the another key thing which we have been talking a lot about. And then cost effective and maintainability, how to do it. Sometimes that becomes a question, and that's why step back and think later kind of approach you take. And that's why, and mostly this is where I don't have to talk or get into all of them, but as per my experience interacting with people, whatever I found, I try to capture those. These are certain major barriers which I found. I've thought of listing them down and having a discussion with you today. Yes. So with this, I come to one important point. That is also I get a common query a lot of time. But how do I know that I can do IoT? Am I ready for IoT? Is my business ready for IoT? So that is the next topic that I want to discuss. Okay, if I get into that, I think Abhilash, we have some time, right? It's been I'm nearing it's 10 minutes left.
Yeah, we can take some minutes, Vijit.
Yeah, so when do you want to start the QA session?
Actually, maybe we can take it after 10 minutes.
Okay, fine. Let me quickly wrap it up. So I will, because this is important. Like if anyone in the room are thinking that okay, I want to start or I want to check whether I can do some get into some IoT project or not. Here are my 3 steps that you need to follow, and if you are okay in 3 point, I think you can ready to go. Number one is the defining the project objective. So identify what the real problem that is there in your business, which you want to solve. If you don't have a clear and asking the question, if you don't get a clear answer, maybe you have to ask again and get it. Otherwise, it will be difficult. So, question that you ask, what are the real problems? Let me see. Real problems means like, okay, my operational costs are high. My target, my objective on my project is to decrease the operational cost or reduce the quality issues or the human errors that we are seeing in the process. Or I want to enhance my customer experience altogether in the product that we are offering our product. Or I want to increase my workforce productivity because there is a complaint coming in the workforce. The productivity is quite low and it is not coming up to the mark. So how can I? So if your project objectives are defined around that, then maybe you can take trace back once you define that objective, and if that objective is clear to you, I think you can now come backwards and try to create. That means this, if you get an answer to this question, that your what is the real problem and my objective is defined, then I think you are ready to start your IoT project. But if not, that is what, if you are unable to define your industry 4.0 goals clearly, I think that is where you need to seek help from some IoT consulting companies. If you can take your try, you can take some time, like 1 month, 2 month time to do that. But after that also, if you find that, or if someone feel like, okay, no, I have spent good amount of time, but still I am not very sure that what are my project objectives that I can define to start with this, I think you need some external help. Try to find some. There are certain IoT consulting companies right there. like Industech, which who can help you out on that. Try to reach out to them and state the problem, and those solutions for surely they can come with a solution. How they can identify help you is like they can help you identify your problem, pinpointing there. They can help you create the roadmap for you and to your goals. And then once you have the program, then you can go on your own and start working on it. If and they can be on a supporting and a hand holding mode to see whether it is working, and you can put them some kind of an accountability also. They can bring in certain accountability even if their project goals are cleared, whether it is followed up or not. They can also set you accountable for that, and that is where it can you can go towards a path where you progress and make it happen, where your the transformation, that is where you see the transformation starts happening. Second thing
So,
is
sir,
yes.
sir, who are the best IoT consulting partners for software development for automotive industry, as per your knowledge?
No, in this case, see, IoT consulting, see, when you are talking about, they're the consulting, top four consulting companies there. They also provide, like if you go to E&Y, you go to Deloitte, okay. They also have a consulting wing for this specific cases. There are also consulting companies like us, which we, because we do is like we provide a solution, we are a solution providing company. That's why consulting also comes out of it. We also have an assessment program with what we run through. So in this case, I can't tell who is the best because there is no industry parameter. There is no one doing that job who comes out of a regular list like, okay, this year these are the top companies which is there. Okay, IoT consulting company you can talk about. Okay, but for sure, first thing is like you can always Google it out. Second thing, if you are here in this room, you can always reach out to us. We have been doing this same thing. We can try to help you out. But in this case, if you ask me, I don't have a list of names. These are there. I know few of our competitors. I know few of the names who have certain good model. We can recommend that. But I don't have a ready list to tell these are the top 10 companies and name whom you can touch with. But surely we can, I think Industech, Vilas can help you out if you are looking for something for that. They can help you out in this process. Right. Okay, so moving on.
Sir, when this call gets over, I will get in touch with you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so next thing is like building prototype. There is nothing better than doing something on your own, failing and retrying doing that. So that is another way. If you are already doing certain prototypes already in-house or internally with your own limited resource or whatever the knowledge that you are having, I think you are also ready for it. Like you are taking some Arduino board or Raspberry Pi and trying to integrate, fetch some data and doing something, you are ready for it. In this case, again, if you are not getting the desired result and all those, that is where it might happen that you need some help and assistance. That is where it can do. But run it as a pilot. Like when you think of a problem statement, like it might happen that the problem statement is defined and clear, but you start the whole thing as a big project altogether. That we will always recommend not to do it. Start small and build, measure something, and then repeat it and iterate over it to come to a better solution. Because in this process, what can happen is like you build a team, you can do the cost benefit analysis. You can identify your right, are you choosing the right devices, sensors or not, or you are going to a right solution or not, or the vendor is proper or suitable for you not. All those can be tested out through this mechanism. And the best thing that I've seen is like building prototype, doing through pilots is like most of the cases we see a lot of knowledge gaps are there. So those gaps get filled around once you do take this step. So if you are not doing it, I can always tell that best thing is to start with a small pilot. And what kind of a pilot once, because once you do the pilot something, your project objective also sometimes gets clarity. Okay, these are two are related, but still I'm trying to putting in a order. It's not like a order. Number one, you do this. Number two, you do this. Not it's for everyone can have their own track of doing it. And third thing is also when you are say about IoT readiness, about the checking the integration, because IoT systems are not independent system. It will connect to your IT systems or your operational technology, your machines. It will connect to those. So you have to check with that. Like your IT systems need to get as we have been talking about an example where the machine data is collected and pushed onto SAP, and SAP provides the report. So that means what? You have to check the integration points from your SAP to your machine interface. So if that is not that path is not defined, there might be a challenge in later when you want to go and do that. You might see that is a big point, and it cost a huge lot of point which is out of your project budget and scope, and that is where the management decide no, this is not going to work. Yeah, we might need to shelve off the project. So I have seen cases like that, which has where certain project has been initiated without checking out certain check parameters and whether it is feasible or not. That is a more of a part of a feasibility check which comes in, and that's why it was one of the reason for the project failure. So that's why check for the integration. Integration means integration with your existing IT system. If you whichever IT system has related to the data which is where they are interested in, like it can be your quality management system, or when you're talking about in your warehouse storage, your warehouse management system, or your ERP system. We have to check how we can interface. How does we have to push the data into that system, or we have to pull the data in, or both push pull will work. Like if I have to do that, like how the push pull mechanism works for that system, you should need to know that. If you are not aware of that, maybe you have to connect with the vendor and get those details from them. So those integration points has to be checked. Same way on the other hand, this is about the IT OT system integration that I'm talking. On the other end is about the sensors, because sensors are bringing in a lot of data, and there is a large data set coming in. How do you handle the data? How much has to be done on the cloud versus the edge? Okay, what all kind of techniques that you can use for predictions or anomaly detection, which is there, security threats which comes along with it, how do we handle? So those integration checkpoints has to be done. So ideally, if you have some kind of a good understanding in terms of this integration, maybe there is a one point where you are ready for this IoT program to bring in into your organization. Okay. Finally, I will just quickly run through it. I'm just running over the time. Sorry, Abhilash. So it's about the choosing the right IoT vendor. Who are the currently in the market? If you see IoT solution providers, I want to show this slide. If it is not visible, maybe I will enlarge it a bit. But if you see who are the solution provider, there are IoT cloud or platform companies. There are few companies who are just analytics provider. There are few companies who only are hardware providers. They said we only provide IoT hardware. There are certain product design company, telecommunication operator like your Airtel or Jio. And these are the companies who are also come with certain solutions for IoT also. And then there are coming as a system integrator. There are company who says that okay, I am a system integrator of Siemens or PTC, and we have certain solution and we will help you integrate on as per your requirement or need. Okay, so if you see the largest part in the it's a survey result which has been done with different manufacturing companies to find from whom they are actually taking their IoT solution. The largest is 29%. They are actually building taking it from IoT cloud or a platform company. When you talk about IoT cloud or platform company, who are those? Mostly, if you can check off Azure or this one or AWS, so you can treat them as they are IoT cloud and platform company, because they are doing it the cloud thing for so many businesses. They find that IoT part is also a very specific segment, and then they have packaged certain product and offerings around that, and that's why a large part of business they are taking in, and that's why if you see the large component is this one. And the second largest is like no vendor in the lead, we build in-house. So that means the businesses are trying to do some IoT solution in-house. Followed by that are system integrators. So this is where the kind of a structure. So I want to give you a clarity in terms of when you talk about IoT solution provider, who are the IoT solution providers in the market? No one will say as an coming as an IoT solution. The IoT solution can be a system integrator. They can be a telecom operator also. They can be some analytics system providers. I have seen lot of companies, and most of this case analytics providers are software companies. Okay, where they have an analytics engine, analytics software. They come and say, okay, I have this analytic, can you use for your business? You get interested, then they say, no, you have to put some sensors and all those. Either you talk to your vendor and provide me the data, or I will bring some of my partner who can do it. So these are certain software companies who does that. Okay, and there are hardware providers the reverse, where they have some hardware sensors and all those what they provide. They might reach you or you might reach them, and then they say, okay, this hardware is there, but you state your problem that just collecting data will not help. What I want is like, I want to collect those data and do some analysis on that. And then it's a reverse flow. Then they will either bring in some of the partner who does the software now, or they have something in-house also they can do, and that is how it is done. So hope this gives you a clarity on that. But the major thing that I'm trying to point out here is like, when you mapping the requirements by category. So device to communication to cloud services, application, and the security. There's a 5 different very distinct functions or category are there when you are talking about IoT systems to be put in. Okay, now asking one vendor provide all the 5 services, I think it's very difficult. I myself don't know any company who does the device also, who provides the communication path, who does the clouds, provides also the cloud services, build application or software as per requirement on top of it, and also provides the security and measures or security softwares or security solutions around that. So it is never. So that's why we have to find out in a way, like ask, do you have any expert in-house in any of one of the 5 segments when you are going for IoT implementation? Do you have any in-house expertise on which one? Okay, which category of vendors expertise, and when you are bringing in the vendor, where does their expertise lies in? So in this case, one point can you check is like, a vendor who covers a wider gamut is better for you, because for the 5 segment, if you bring 5 vendors to do one project, it becomes a big challenge. If you find a vendor who says, no, I will do communication, cloud and application, you find a device vendor and security another vendor, maybe that is a good point on that. But sometimes device to communication becomes a challenge. So you can also find someone says that, okay, I have a device communication and cloud services, I will provide up to this, but application you have to find some other vendor, application and the security. So that is also fine. So in that case, talking to 2 vendors at a time, maybe with 2 vendors you can cover this gamut what I am presenting here. Okay, so to think about it, like when you are asking yeah, the vendor who is coming in, try to map them, what's which area they are filling in, device side, the communication, cloud services, application or security, that you have to see. For the next thing on my list is like the wider domain expertise. So that's why digital transformation in Industry 4 is a very wide gamut. A lot of things, as I have shown, there's a 9 circles point activity I have shown there, but it's even under that sub segment, there are sub segment also. It's a quite wide one. So vendors who provide end-to-end services, Industry 4.0 is there. Find vendors who can cover the more services that, as I've shown, this in this service pipe, the more the coverage they provide, that means the lesser vendor you have to talk to. So that can be one choice for you. Uh, and at least you find the vendor who has a domain expertise in at least 3 areas. So that is also very useful. If they don't have an expertise, and because people can say I can do it, and then they will try to find some other sub vendors and all those, that can become sometimes becomes a problematic. So see if they have a domain expertise in at least 3 areas, and accordingly you decide. Okay. You can also, that is what you can enter the solution provider, whoever is coming in, he said, okay, I don't know, I want to talk to one vendor, you assemble. So if someone does that, or if you don't propose, they themselves do it, understanding your problem, bring in the sub vendors and then give you a solution, maybe that is good. That means he is going extra mile to attend to your problem or the solution. That can be a point which you can check it. Okay, and aligning to industry standard, partnering and their partner, that is one thing. Anyways, setting to standard means that means they are following, they have some process, that is good, it's not random. And partnered with industry leader, you will find a lot of vendors who are like partnering, means like he's a Siemens partner or a PTC partner. That brings a lot of value because they are connected to a bigger network. So any of the problem, if they need some kind of a help or some kind of an resource, in this case, they can get it for you. So check with them what kind of a partnership they have. That helps a lot in certain cases. Most of the cases when we are stuck, that is where this network helps a lot. And other thing is like buy versus build. Yes, so when you are talking about IoT solution for your business, you can think of, can I buy it totally or I have to build it as it is needed. So there is no specific measure to say whether buy or build, but I can give some indicators. Like buying gives you speed, whereas build gives you control. So if keeping this in a process, try to buy when you need you need quicker time to market, or production has to be faster and all those. If you don't have much time, a large part of your requirement gets covered by the product which you have seen or you have shortlisted, and your system that you are thinking is a very short-term goal, like next 2 to 3 years maximum on that, and something plug and play kind of an offer is there. Maybe it is better to buy under these circumstances. But when you have very specific requirement, you have a lot of in-house tools which has developed over a period. You have multiple other vendors also working in. You are not clear on what are your goals that you want to achieve, and your goals are very long term. You want to see, consult, understand, inspect, build. If this is the mode that you want to go, better build it. Find a partner who can build it for you rather than doing an outright buy. And other thing is like, yes, collaboration over negotiation. That is what you can check a vendor or who is coming in and is becoming. You see that whether when you are talking about your problem and the ideas also comes in. So the idea is only one-sided, and the others, your vendor is just saying yes to it, whatever you are telling, or they are also coming up with ideas or coming up with solution to your problem or a different way when you state them. So see the flow of idea. If it is coming both ways, that means it's a good. They are coming as a, they will bring in more values to you rather than just telling what you say, ask them to do. That is one thing. And second thing, I have one point which I check. I am just sharing that: resourceful versus resistive. When you ask for something, when you whether your vendor becomes provides you, or they are resourceful or they are resistive. So when you tell something, no sir, this is cannot be done, or this is it's difficult, it will take time. So if they are putting points like that, if they are resistive around that, I think the vendor will not help you get to a longer period. See a vendor who can be resourceful. What you ask for, if you are stuck, it is important for you, and they are trying to go a little extra to get you what you are asking for. Maybe that is a better choice. Yeah, so that is there. I think with this, I will wrap up the session because I have already taken 10 minutes more from Avilash. Sorry, Avilash. With this, if you ask me, I have a lot more things. Maybe Avilash can arrange another session kind of solution that we have built. We can talk about that. Okay. A lot of them we have worked in different, not only manufacturing, we have worked on different from transport, as you mentioned, transport, utilities, all those. So just to ending note is like IoT is growing at a rapid pace. Last year itself, it is going as a 22% growth is there. So and the IoT is fueling the whole data economy, and this that is where the whole world is running after. So let's I think it's a time. So with this, I will hand over it to back to Abhilash. If you have any point or thing, we can have a discussion in the QA session, or after the session you can send your queries via Vilash to me. I can attend them. Okay, thank you all. So over to Abhilash.
Thank you, Suvijit, for that wonderful and insightful presentation. I would request if any queries are there, we can just take some of the queries.
The slide can be. Is it audible, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you share the slides of this one? Could you share the slides?
Yes, yes, we'll
Okay.
share that.
Okay. So you'll be mail it or.
Yeah, mailing. I think Abhilash can guide you on that. So if he has your email, he can
Yeah,
send.
your slides are very nice, so that whenever reference is required, we can refer it.
Sure, sure. See, this is
Okay.
our purpose is that it's to transmit the knowledge. It is not
Yeah,
about
correct.
here
That is
we are
why
not
I'm.
trying. It's a session. We want to make it a maximum utilization for you. It is not about selling some product or solution. Okay, it is not about that. It is more about
Correct. It is a general information, sir.
yes, yes. So
Yeah.
because we
Okay.
see
Thank you,
when we
sir.
yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Now I would request Mr. Sangamesh to give the closing address. Over to you, Sangamesh.
Thank you, Abhilash. And thank you, Subhajit and Ajay, for that wonderful session. This session was more to do with demystifying what IoT is, so that we have much more clarity about what IoT is and how closer it is to our our doorsteps. And so uh, the other things are we got to understand the simple facts, the opportunities that are knocking on our doors, uh, and how these are open door systems and transparent, unlike the legacy systems that we are used to using in our factories and offices, and eventually coming at closed loop systems that will lead to business intelligence, and how IoT can be an integral part of the overall business cycle, from the product to manufacturing to the sales function. So thank you, Sivajit, so much for enlightening us through the session, and thank you so much to all the participants who've been with us, listening to the session, listening to Sivajit, and asking your questions, and making this meet a successful meet. Thank you so much, Sivajit, and your whole team.
Pleasure is mine, Sangamesh.
Thank you.
Thanks for hosting me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sangamesh. Thank you, Subhajit. On behalf of PLM Industech and Geogo, I would like to thank all the participants who have joined this call. Further, if in case if you have any queries related to
Sorry for the
IoT,
disturbance. Sorry for the disturbance. So could you give the PLI also, like that one introduction section also, you can give PLI, PLM, PLC. Can you give the one PLC demo or something, so that we also planning to buy that PLC software for our CAD purpose?
You can connect with us, Mr. Raj. So we will guide you through the process.
Okay, sir.
So you can get in touch with Abhilash, and
Okay,
we
okay,
will take it ahead.
okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
thank you. Thank you all the participants. Thank you all the speakers. So keep up. So we'll keep you posted with the next set of session. Please also join us on our LinkedIn page, where you'll be getting a lot of updates on Industry 4.0. So by then, I would like to thank you all once again. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you.